What if the beach on every travel poster was also the one your local news quietly warns you about every summer? Picture a single red flag snapping alone above miles of empty white sand, ignored by the exact people it was raised to warn. Florida sells you paradise, turquoise water, endless sunshine, a drink in your hand before noon. What it never puts on the postcard is this: some of these very same towns carry the highest rip current death tolls in the country, the highest shark encounter rates on Earth, and a hidden bacteria most visitors have never even heard of. So why do millions of tourists keep returning to the exact towns locals quietly warn each other about? We are counting down 15 Florida beach towns tourists still visit anyway, the ones where paradise and danger share the very same stretch of sand, saving the most extreme combination for the very end. Number 15. Jacksonville Beach. Would you trust a beach that looks calmer than it actually is? Jacksonville Beach is wide, flat, and only minutes from a major airport, which is exactly why families and first-time surfers treat it like the safest possible start to a Florida trip. Here is the quieter truth. This stretch of Atlantic coastline sits inside the same region shark researchers track every year, though bites here stay genuinely rare compared to towns further south. The real everyday danger is invisible, a current pulling hard underneath the surface near the pier and the jetties, especially once the tide starts pulling back out. Inexperienced swimmers drift past the sandbar without noticing, and surfers who paddle out on double red flag days are the ones lifeguards rescue most often. The fix is almost embarrassingly simple. Swim near a lifeguard tower, glance at the flag color before your feet touch the water, and skip swimming alone beside a jetty, where currents bunch together and pull hardest. Get that right, and Jacksonville Beach hands you exactly the calm start you came for, especially if you drift a few minutes north to Neptune Beach, where the surf softens and the crowd thins out. Hold that quiet start close, because the next stop turns the same ocean air into something you can actually feel in your chest. Number 14. Naples and Marco Island. Picture a family spreading towels across a Naples beach, kids sprinting toward the water, when someone nearby starts coughing for no obvious reason. That cough has a name and a cause. Red tide is a toxic algae bloom Florida wildlife officials track along the Gulf Coast, and Collier County, home to Naples and Marco Island, keeps showing up on their fish kill reports. The toxin irritates lungs and stings eyes, turning a picture-perfect afternoon into a breathing emergency for anyone with asthma or a chronic lung condition. It peaks on onshore wind days in late summer and fall, and the giveaway sign could not be simpler: dead fish scattered along the sand. One glance at the state's daily red tide map before you leave the hotel tells you everything you need to know, and if a chemical smell reaches you before your toes reach the water, drive to a different beach. Naples is not the kind of dangerous people imagine. It is the kind you smell before you ever see it, which is exactly why an easy day trip into the clean, breezy Everglades coastline feels like such a relief once you know what to check for. That relief will not last long, because the same invisible bloom is waiting 2 counties north, sitting directly under one of the most crowded spring break beaches in the state. Number 13. Clearwater Beach and St. Pete Beach. Every travel magazine ranks Clearwater Beach among the best beaches in the entire country, and the sand really does earn it: soft, white, and endless. What those glowing rankings leave out is the same red tide bloom that just hit Naples, except here it lands on top of some of the heaviest tourist crowds anywhere in Florida. During peak spring break weeks, lifeguard coverage gets stretched thinnest at the exact moment the beach fills up the most, which means a single bad air quality day can hit thousands of people at once instead of a scattered few. Older tourists and anyone with asthma feel it first, often before they even notice the smell. Checking the harmful algal bloom forecast takes less time than ordering coffee, and keeping young children within your direct sightline during the busiest weekends costs you nothing except a little extra attention. Clearwater earns its reputation honestly. It just never mentions the other half of the story. What follows has nothing to do with weather at all. It is about what happens to your belongings the second you stop watching them. And what happens inside a hotel conference room when a total stranger hands you something free? Number 12. Fort Lauderdale. Yacht marinas do a great job of looking safe. Fort Lauderdale leans into that image hard, with its polished boats and its walkable stretch along Las Olas Boulevard. Local crime data quietly tells a plainer story. Car break-ins and petty theft, including bags snatched off a beach towel, remain the most common tourist-related crimes here, clustered just outside the main patrolled strip. Vehicle break-ins alone account for roughly 37% of all reported theft cases citywide, making an empty back seat the easiest target a thief could ask for. Violent crime overall sits slightly above both the national and state averages, though it stays away from where most visitors spend their time. The second risk costs more than a stolen phone. Florida's own consumer protection regulators, alongside federal agencies, have repeatedly warned about vacation club and timeshare pitches sold as a free weekend or a travel forum, the exact tactic authorities dismantled in a coordinated multinational crackdown. Keep nothing visible inside a parked car, choose guarded parking whenever it exists, and meet any stranger's free gift offer with the same suspicion you would use back home. Handle both correctly, and the marinas, the boat tours, and that walkable beach strip genuinely deliver the postcard version of this city. What waits just up the coast will not touch your wallet, only the sky above your head. Number 11. Cocoa Beach and the Space Coast. Every rocket launch on this coast comes with its own countdown clock, and so, quietly, does the weather. Cocoa Beach draws surfers and space fans in roughly equal numbers, yet Brevard County logs dozens of shark encounters every year, 33 in one recent nationwide ranking alone, and Florida as a whole holds the title of lightning capital of the country. Records spanning roughly 4.5 decades count more than 2,000 people killed or injured by lightning statewide, over 400 fatally, with beachgoing near the top of the list of activities where it happens most. The danger builds fast on summer afternoons, and it gets worse the moment a launch viewing crowd gathers, everyone staring at the sky while nobody watches the horizon for the storm building behind them. Leave the beach the second you hear thunder, wait 30 minutes after the last rumble before returning, and never stand under the tallest object on open sand. Get the timing right, and watching a rocket climb into the sky from here remains one of the most genuinely thrilling free experiences in the state. Lightning at least gives you a few seconds of warning before it strikes. What is waiting further down this coast gives you none at all, and you cannot see it, smell it, or hear it coming. Number 10. Siesta Key and Sarasota Beaches. Siesta Key's sand is famous for being almost impossibly soft, powder-fine quartz that stays cool underfoot even at noon. That softness has nothing to do with the actual danger here. Sarasota County was one of several counties Florida health officials flagged for a sharp rise in a bacteria called Vibrio vulnificus after Hurricane Helene, a naturally occurring organism that thrives in warm brackish water, including the calmer bayside of this key. Health officials recorded 82 cases and 19 deaths statewide the year that spike hit, and 33 cases and 5 deaths the year after, with fresh cases still surfacing every summer. It slips in through an open cut or a scrape exposed to warm water, and while healthy people usually shake it off, anyone with a weakened immune system or liver disease can turn seriously ill within a day. Cover any open wound or keep it out of the water. Skip raw oysters if you fall into a higher risk group, and wash any cut immediately with soap once you leave the water. Handle that, and the open Gulf side of this beach remains one of the safest, softest stretches of sand in the country. This is a real risk, not a reason to skip the beach if you are healthy and careful. What took a hurricane to expose here took a storm season to physically destroy just up the coast, and parts of it still are not finished. Number 9. Sanibel and Captiva Island. The postcard version of Sanibel Island shows quiet shelling beaches and slow golden afternoons, and most of the time, that postcard is accurate. The catch is a single causeway, the only road connecting these islands to the mainland, torn apart when Hurricane Ian slammed into this coast as a powerful Category 4 storm packing winds, topping 150 miles per hour. Crews rebuilt that causeway, but the underlying vulnerability never went away. One road in means one road out, and if a storm turns toward this coast during hurricane season, which runs from June through November, that single road can flood or close with almost no warning. Wildlife refuges across the island can also look startlingly different right after a storm, debris and displaced animals far more visible than usual. Book with flexible cancellation during storm season, track the forecast daily instead of waiting for an official order, and remember that leaving a day early always beats leaving an hour late. Get the timing right, and Sanibel in the calm winter months delivers one of the most peaceful island trips Florida has to offer. The causeway got rebuilt. The odds behind it did not. A few miles down the coast, the danger stops being about the road out and starts being about the ground underneath your feet. Number 8. Fort Myers Beach. Years have passed since the storm that reshaped Sanibel also tore through this stretch of coastline, and Fort Myers Beach is still visibly healing. New construction, temporary infrastructure, and low ground that floods easily remain part of daily life here, not a chapter tourists read about in a history display. Lee County and Broward County have each recorded 8 lightning-related deaths since 2006, the highest totals of any coastal counties in the state, and a lightning strike here this past July killed 1 person and injured 3 others. Construction zones carry irregular signage that catches visitors off guard after dark, and the open beach during a fast-building summer storm cell catches anyone who waits too long to gather their things. Stick to marked pedestrian paths near active work sites, and treat the first sound of thunder as your cue to move immediately, not later. Respect both, and this laid-back fishing pier town, with its cheap waterfront bars and friendly locals, still delivers the unhurried Gulf Coast feeling people come here for. Fort Myers Beach is rebuilding in plain sight, and that in-between state is precisely where accidents happen. None of that has to do with construction crews or thunderclouds. What is coming next is about a single highway and a clock nobody controls. Number 7. Key West. Did you know Key West sits at the literal end of the road, tied to the rest of the country by a single highway through the overseas keys? That geography feels charming right up until a hurricane forms somewhere out in the Atlantic. Monroe County officials repeat the same message every season, staying behind once a major storm approaches ranks among the riskiest decisions a visitor can make, and official policy evacuates tourists first, only ordering residents out later if the storm reaches Category 3 strength or higher. Add extreme summer heat and a dense late-night drinking strip along Duval Street, and the everyday risks quietly stack up even outside storm season. Follow evacuation orders the moment they are announced. Take a ride share instead of biking after drinking, since local law already requires bike lights at night, and keep water on you constantly given how brutal the sun gets here. Get that right, and sunset at Mallory Square, followed by a slow walk down Duval Street, remains one of the most genuinely joyful evenings this state offers. Key West rewards people who respect its geography and quietly punishes those who assume they have more time than they actually do. The next name on this list carries a nickname almost every tourist has heard, but almost nobody understands correctly. Number 6. New Smyrna Beach. Everyone calls New Smyrna Beach the shark bite capital of the world, and technically, the title is earned. Researchers have logged more than 300 incidents here since the 1880s, more than anywhere else in the country according to a recent nationwide count. Here is what that nickname conveniently leaves out. In the entire recorded history of this beach, not one bite has ever been fatal. Blacktip and spinner sharks migrate close to shore here every spring and fall, swimming straight into the same shallow water surfers already use, which explains why encounters happen so often and why they almost never turn serious. Volusia County alone averages roughly 9 bites a year, close to half of Florida's entire yearly total. Yet the emergency room visits that follow are almost always for stitches, not surgery. Steer clear of visible baitfish schools or diving birds. Skip jewelry that flashes light the way fish scales do, and stay out of the water at dawn and dusk, when feeding activity peaks. Get that right, and this laid-back surf town, with some of the best beginner waves on the East Coast, deserves every ounce of its popularity, nickname and all. This is the one entry where the scary reputation is bigger than the real danger. Everything after this point is the opposite: quieter reputations and genuinely higher stakes. Number 5. The Florida Keys, covering Islamorada, Key Largo, and Marathon. This region calls itself the boating capital of the world, and the numbers back up both halves of that claim: the sheer number of boats on the water and the sheer number of accidents that follow. Florida's most recent statewide report recorded nearly 700 reportable boating accidents in a single year, over 50 deaths and more than 400 injuries, and Monroe County, covering the entire chain of keys, consistently posts the highest number of incidents in the state. Roughly 2 out of every 3 fatal accidents involved an operator with no formal boater education. Lawmakers responded with Lucy's Law, named after a teenager killed in a boating accident, increasing education requirements and penalties for operators who flee a crash. The real danger clusters around channel markers and dive flag areas during peak boating season and lobster mini-season, especially once alcohol enters the picture. Board only a licensed operator's boat, wear a life jacket no matter how experienced you are, and give any dive flag a wide, slow berth. Do that, and diving into some of the clearest water in the country becomes exactly the postcard moment people fly here for. Getting back to shore depends entirely on who is holding the wheel. That danger comes from the boat underneath you. The next stop pulls you under with nothing underneath you at all. Number 4. Destin. The water in Destin is famous for a clarity you can see straight through, glassy and calm on a good day. The kind of surface that photographs beautifully and hides almost everything underneath it. That calm surface is exactly what makes this stretch of Northwest Florida so dangerous. The National Weather Service has repeatedly flagged this region during clusters of rip current deaths, including one recent summer when 7 people died within 9 days along the same current system running through Destin's coastline. Visitors make up the overwhelming majority of victims here, not because they are careless, but because they genuinely cannot read a current moving underneath water that looks perfectly safe from the sand. Never step into the water on a red flag day, no matter how calm it looks. Swim parallel to shore if a current grabs you, and never attempt to pull someone else out without something that floats. Respect the flags, and Destin's beaches remain some of the whitest, calmest, most family-friendly stretches of coastline the state has to offer. Destin's water will never warn you the way a storm cloud does. It simply waits for someone to underestimate it, and from here on, every entry pairs that danger with something entirely human, a combination that gets harder to walk away from unscathed the closer we get to number 1. Number 3. Miami Beach, specifically South Beach and Ocean Drive. You have seen the photos: pastel Art Deco hotels, palm trees glowing at night, a beach strip built for a magazine cover. What those photos never show is the spring break history underneath them. Fatal shootings on Ocean Drive in past seasons triggered a state of emergency and pushed the city into an official campaign distancing itself from spring break entirely. Restrictions have eased in recent years, yet police still reported over 200 firearm-related investigations and roughly 132 arrests during a single recent spring break period, a 21% drop from the year before, proof the crackdown genuinely works. The real risk after midnight is not violence alone. It is what a fast-moving crowd does the instant something goes wrong, since a stampede can outrun the original incident within seconds. Stay out of the entertainment district late at night during peak weeks, keep 2 exit routes in mind on any crowded block, and leave the moment a crowd surge starts building. Time it right, and North Beach, a short drive up the coast, delivers the exact Miami Beach postcard experience minus the midnight chaos. Miami Beach's danger lives in the crowd after dark. The next stop adds thousands of motorcycle engines to that equation, and 1 week a year where the local emergency room barely gets a break. Number 2. Daytona Beach. The sound of thousands of motorcycle engines rolling down Main Street is the first thing you notice about Daytona Beach during Bike Week, and it is also the first clue to its biggest risk. This remains the only beach in Florida where driving on the sand is legal, and every March, tens of thousands of riders pour into one compact stretch of road for a single week. Florida Highway Patrol data shows dozens of crashes and multiple fatalities most years, riders without helmets making up a disproportionate share of the deaths. One recent year alone recorded 3 fatalities and 75 crashes tied to the week. Add nearby shark encounters and heavy spring break traffic on the same driving lanes as pedestrians, and Daytona stacks several risks into one town. Wear a helmet even though Florida law makes it optional for riders over 21. Treat the beach driving lanes like a normal street, and skip Main Street on a motorcycle after dark. Visit in fall or winter instead, and this same beach, engine noise gone, becomes one of the calmest stretches of sand in the state. Everything so far involved one clear danger standing alone. Our number 1 combines 2 of the deadliest patterns in this video into a single stretch of sand, and you already suspect which one it is. Number 1. Panama City Beach. This is it. The beach we hooked you with at the very beginning, the one where the sand looks flawless in every photo, and the water has already claimed more lives in one bad week than most towns see in years. Panama City Beach draws some of the largest spring break crowds in the country along a long, affordable shoreline. In more than one recent year, this stretch of coast recorded rip current fatality clusters severe enough that federal weather officials flagged it among the highest rip current death counts in the United States, including one summer when 7 people died within 9 days, and another year when at least 6 visitors were killed here. Nearly every victim was a visitor from out of state who walked into the water on a posted red flag day. This town also built a well-documented history of spring break gun violence, multiple shootings in past seasons forcing curfews, alcohol bans, and mandatory check-ins for unaccompanied minors. During one recent high-impact enforcement period, deputies and officers together responded to nearly 13,000 calls for service and made close to 1,000 arrests, proof of how much manpower it takes to keep one beach under control. The turnaround has genuinely worked, with only one firearm-related incident during the most recent spring break, against several shootings the year before. Never step into the water on a red or double red flag day, no matter how strong a swimmer you are, follow posted curfews with teenagers, and book lodging outside the high-impact zones. Get that right, and this beach, with its long stretches of uncrowded white sand past the party strip, becomes exactly the affordable family trip it advertises itself as. Most visits here end up uneventful, and this town rewards real preparation more than any other place on this list. Here is the pattern running through every one of these 15 towns. The ocean almost always warns you first. A flag color, a rumble of thunder, a red tide advisory posted online for free. Most tourists never check it. The human risks follow their own calendar instead. Spring break weeks, bike week, and hurricane season are exactly when incident numbers climb across this state. Plan around that calendar, respect the free public warning systems already in front of you, and you remove most of the real danger from any beach on this list. You need to know one more thing before you pack a bag. The danger in Florida is rarely hidden. It is simply ignored, and that is exactly why it keeps catching visitors instead of locals. Tell us in the comments which one of these 15 towns you are watching this video from right now. And if you have actually stood on the very last beach on this list, tell us honestly what the flags looked like that day.